Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know what is going on with YouTube. My last live stream wouldn't go live, and here we are live, but I can't see the bloody link. So I don't know how many people are going to join this. I don't even know who's seeing this, but I had to make a video because, damn it, the markets are tanking, and I got to talk about Oculus. I actually got my hands on this over the weekend, and this was the big debate. Is what Facebook is doing going to be another Wii? We all know Nintendo's Wii, super popular, hot subject, kind of interactive, lose some weight, et cetera, to only burn out, become FUD, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm just going to give you guys a quick little idea of my experience with this thus far, what I think is terrible about it, what I think is great about it. We're going to talk about me investing more money into Facebook stock. I should have waited a little longer, but I'm not done buying just yet. I picked some shares up, I think at around 324 or whatever today. I picked up about 5 shares, looking to buy more. I figured I'd wait a little bit just in case something like this happened where it tanked. Actually, the whole markets are tanking, so it's not just Facebook here, but let me grab the controllers, give you guys an idea if you've never used this. Obviously, I can't exactly show you what this is about, but let's roll back the story a little bit. Going back several years ago here, folks, I was invited to do a show. I used to be a magician. You kind of see the cards, some cool stuff in the background. I usually don't show you this backdrop. I was invited to a film studio Christmas party. One of the coolest jobs I ever did. These guys somewhere out in Hamilton, other side of Toronto here, had this big film studio that used to be a bank. They were renting an old bank, and it was really cool because in this building, wide open space, this huge vault where they had all this camera equipment, which was one of the old bank vaults. It's a really cool building all around, right? So these guys were setting up the original version of the Oculus. I think it was the second version long before Facebook owned it. And when they were setting this thing up, we had cameras in all the corners of the room, a lot of wiring running around, and I had the privilege of them letting me try it. And my very first experience with this was kind of mind-blowing, really, because the initial Oculus had this really fun demo where when you put the headset on, you're kind of standing in the middle of a street. I don't know if any of you actually tried it, but as you looked around, the scenery would change. And you'd look across the street, you'd look back, and there'd be a barrel on fire. You'd look back over, you'd be sitting in a desk chair, and then you'd be looking around this desk, you'd look over, and before you knew, you were just floating in space. It was a wild initial experience. It was cool, but not enough to make me want to just say, go out and spend all kinds of money on it, right? So leading up to this moment is probably the last time I've really tried virtual reality because everything prior to this has been generally junk. My buddy tried the PlayStation version about a year ago, and it was constantly overheating. He hated it. He ended up just selling it. It was kind of just FUD, right? So now we have Facebook reattempting this, okay? And here we have the Oculus Quest 2. Obviously, I never tried the first one, but the first thing that kind of blows my mind with this is there's no plugs. This thing has got really great battery life, surprisingly, and it's just a headset. That's it. There's no computer involvement. There's nothing, okay? When you put this thing on, your first experience is honestly staggering. It's probably one of the most mind-blowing experiences just because of how compact it is and the fact that you can do everything you do on your computer. I mean, you can browse YouTube, watch Netflix, all kinds of just fascinating stuff. So my first initial reaction, I had to let other people try this. I'm like, you got to let some people try this. So we got my girlfriend's family came over, we got their uncles and aunts, and we're like, guys, like, just try the demo, the initial demo of this thing. Every single one of them reactions, mind blown. Like they just couldn't believe something like this exists, right? Like it's just staggering to kind of augment yourself into a whole nother reality that you can actually interact with. So it was really impressive. So I'm like, all right, let's see where this goes from here, right? So I ended up buying some of the games. I picked up The Walking Dead. I'm a big zombie fan, love the Call of Duty zombies, things of that nature. And I have to say, it is one of the most intense zombie experiences I've ever had. You're literally walking through towns, fighting, killing zombies. The amount of interaction that is involved made me sweat. I mean, you have backpacks, guns, knives, you're picking up material, building stuff, interacting with like what seems like kind of fictional real people, and you can kind of change the storyline by interacting. There's really interesting stuff. The biggest problem I ran into for me personally is motion sickness. I have never played the VR enough to get motion sickness. And this is the first time where every time I've played this game, I get this crazy sickness, right? Because basically, like, you're moving around in this weird dimension, but you're using the joystick to walk and you're moving very aggressively. So it kind of it's a little tantalizing to the brain, right? So maybe it's just me. I know a lot of people don't have those issues, so I've been trying to get past it. Anything where you're standing still, not so bad, right? So, anyways, mind blowing, absolutely mind blowing stuff. They're finally starting to introduce what we were anticipating. We're talking virtual concerts, all kinds of weird virtual stuff. And I barely scratched the surface of the capability of this because I've been kind of stuck in zombie land here. All right. All right. So leading up to this, folks, I'm absolutely blown away. I'm so far like just totally impressed. So I'm like, you know what? I'm hoping this isn't going to be a FUD thing. I'm really hoping this is going to turn into something that is going to be comparable to this. I don't think people have caught on to the full scope of this thing yet. There are a few other things that I'm not the biggest fan of it, but honestly, once you're inside of this thing, it's almost like you don't want to get out of it because it's too immersive and it's too just insane to go from sitting in your room to you could be in a room with a ton of other people doing whatever you want. And this is the thing that hit me the hardest, and this is where I think Facebook is going to own. People have overlooked this, and it's something that kind of gets complained about, but I think it's their biggest up. And that is when you sign up to this, when you get into this, you have to log into your Facebook account. Once you're in your Facebook account, Facebook will show you every single one of your friends that owns an Oculus and when they're on the Oculus. It's kind of similar to like Xbox when you log in and it shows all your friends that are playing. The reason that this is so brilliant is because nobody else has the network that Facebook has. And if they can get this to kind of a mass marketed level, which it looks like they're trying to right now, and honestly, anyone that tries it seems to want one. Honestly, I haven't had one bad reaction to this thing yet, other than people that might maybe be a little bit older and kind of scared and like vertigo and stuff like that. But I think that's where their like hammer and nail sits, is that it's going to immediately involve you with your friends on Facebook. And I was telling my girlfriend about this. I had somebody message me I haven't never talked to on Facebook. That's one of my friends reach out to me because they literally said, "Hey, I see you have an Oculus. Like, I've been playing VR for so long. If you ever want to get into some of these games, let me know. I'll invite you in." I was like, I've never talked to this guy before in my life. No idea. I know I met him at some job years ago and he knew one of my friends. And I'm just like, okay, this is what Facebook is trying to do. I get it now. Like, I can see how they're trying to network in a whole new way, because if you're not experiencing it with others, even if you're not experiencing it with others, it's still incredible. But that's what they have that no other VR platform has. And that is what I think is their hammer and nail. Now, I think the tech is getting hit hard here. How much does Oculus cost? This is the non-crazy version. It's $400. I didn't actually buy it. It was a gift, which was kind of ironic. I almost went to buy it, and then I got gifted this just before I went out and got it. Because obviously I'm a big investor in Facebook stock, and this is their future. They're employing the most amount of people, putting the most amount of dollars toward this. So obviously, a corporate credit card, we pull the corporate credit card out, make the business pay for it, use it as a write-off, and do some due diligence, baby. And yeah, I'm blown away, guys. All of this is the entire kit. This is it. And I promise you, even though it doesn't look that intense, when you're in this thing, it's just insane, the interactiveness just with like the few controllers here and nothing else. They've done a really, really good job with this, right? Do you need a computer to run it? No, that's what is blowing my mind. Now, some people were telling me that you can get some of the other VR headsets that can work off your computer and you're going to get better graphics. But the problem is then you're back into wiring. This thing in and of itself is not an Xbox. It's not a PlayStation. It has everything you need here. This is all you need. It's just, that's the craziest thing. And it's not heavy. It sits comfortably on your head. You barely know you're wearing the thing. I mean, I played it for an hour to the point where I almost puked. It sucked because I keep getting that kind of like, when you're on a boat feeling. And usually I don't get it, but I understand why I'm getting it, because you're like running, but you're not at the same time. I don't know how to explain it, but literally, guys, you are ducking. I mean, you're pulling out axes, you're whipping guns out, you're reloading, you're loading that crap. It's so interactive. It's staggering. Like, you're going to sweat to death just playing this thing. I know people losing weight like crazy, right? But yeah. So anyways, I think this is a no-brainer for Facebook at these levels. So I picked up a few shares today. I bought some other stocks, but I'm going to discuss the stocks that I bought. I added one new position to the portfolio, more dividend stock style play, but I'm going to talk about that later. I don't want to include that in this video because I just kind of wanted to preface this around Facebook. I want Facebook at some point to be the largest position in my portfolio. I don't understand how it's trading down so much when you have the likes of Nvidia. I mean, you got the likes of Tesla still holding up here. And I really think people have not caught on to the full scope of what this is going to achieve. Now, like I said, this is coming from somebody that's trying it. If you want to have this kind of experience, I highly recommend that you get it if you can afford it. Obviously, it's not cheap. I mean, it's a full system. You're pending like $400 or $500 for the lower end model, right? $800 for that upper end model. We're talking about Canadian dollars. I'm not sure about the US conversion, probably closer to like $300, right? So I'm all in Facebook here, man. I'm actually more bullish on Facebook stock than I am Tesla, than I am Microsoft, just because I don't see how they tackle the metaverse. I mean, I'm looking at all these different projects. I'm going through a lot of them. People are throwing metaverse stocks at me like crazy right now. And there's really only two ways to approach this. There's the way of doing it through the connection and building the hardware itself. And then there's the software side of it. I don't think Facebook has any moat when it comes to the software side. And when I mean software side, I mean, I'm talking about things like Element 3D. If you guys use any of the editing software, like Unreal software is huge. Nvidia's working on the software as well. All of that software that makes the three-dimensional space that you play Call of Duty in, that is in itself going to be a huge proponent of this. And that's something that Nvidia is working on. A lot of those other companies. Buy any of the gaming companies, you're going to get major exposure to that, right? But like I said, where Facebook is going to crush them is on the fact that they have the network. They're the only company that has a network where they can make a product like this and convince people to buy it and actually network them with their friends. And like I said, I was blown away that people were reaching out to me personally, because Facebook recommended that, hey, here's your friends. They're currently on Oculus. Do you want to join them? You want to play some games? And then you get people like me running around just going off about how crazy this thing is, which I'm hoping is going to perpetuate some sales. What else is there to talk about? There's a lot to talk about. The whole markets are tanking, my man. I hope you loaded the boat on, or getting ready to load the boat here. I mean, the only place that isn't crashing is Apple and Microsoft and these kind of heavyweighted tech companies like Google, where people are just shuffling their money. I mean, like I said, what's Tesla at right now? I mean, that's another good question too. I was kind of blown away that these top weighted companies continue to be so robust. I mean, Apple's trading up 0.2% today. It's holding all-time highs. Microsoft is up 0.3%, roughly the same. Tesla did pull back 4%, but that's not enough. I mean, it's still trading around $1,100 a share. I mean, when we get back into the hundreds instead of the thousands, I'll believe that, Tesla's finally starting to tank. If Google gets back down into that $2,600 range, I'd be more intrigued to buy it. But that's the only reason that I see Facebook as a huge buy here, a huge buy. So I've got another few $1,000 I want to throw at it. I'm just not ready yet. Like I said, I bought 5 shares. I'm sitting at about 55 shares as of this moment. So that's pretty incredible in and of itself. What else have you guys been buying? Like I said, I don't want to spoil anything because I'm going to talk more about what I'm buying a little bit later. But yeah, other than that, folks, that's my experience with the Oculus. I just want to do a quick live stream. It was absolute trash. I'm getting really tired of YouTube. Every time I use YouTube, it just gives me all kinds of fickle bullshit. And I'm getting tired of it because I get ready, I get this little script thing together, I get all excited, and then I'm stuck constantly remaking the stream. I mean, anytime I plug my headphones in for some reason, it cuts my audio out. Even though when I'm on Zoom or any other thing, I can wear my headphones and talk through the microphone. Maybe that's just some technical thing I have to change in the mic settings, but that floors me. And I hit go live today, guys, and this stupid little thing was just spinning and it wouldn't go live. Absolutely pisses me off so much because I don't have time to be making full-fledged videos right now. Unfortunately, this is a busy time. PayPal, CPX, what's PayPal at? That's a good question. PayPal's been tanking, man. What is PayPal at? To be honest, I've been watching Zoom a lot here, a lot of the pandemic plays, because I'm kind of surprised that Facebook is a pandemic play and yet it's still crashing. PayPal stock, throw me a PayPal stock here. I want to see what it's at. I haven't looked at it today. Oh, damn, 3%. What are we down? For the year, we're down 22% from those highs. PayPal's trading down a whopping 40%, baby. What are you guys buying here, man? Unfortunately, I want to buy stocks that haven't crashed enough. I did buy one stock that's trading off 5% from its highs. BABA's bleeding a lot. So look at it this way. When you were talking about PayPal, BABA, I mean, the list goes on, whether you can Tattooed Chef, the Corsair, when these companies that have just been tanking miserably, take a sit back and just wait. Wait till you see like a 15% bump and like some leveling off, because it's just like trying to catch a falling knife right now and they just don't stop. So, I mean, if you've got exposure, hold tight, wait. I mean, I've been trying to catch the falling knife with Facebook here, but I feel like Facebook's at the value I want it to be at, and I don't mind buying it. So I'm just going to keep buying all the way down. I don't care if this thing goes back to 250. I'll buy it all the way down. If you want to test your discipline, BABA is definitely the king. Disney 2 is on the major. Yeah, so I would honestly take a look at JD.com with BABA, because BABA gets the shining light for some reason here in the Western world, but I think JD.com is the underrated go-to. because their infrastructure. And I mean, look, it's barely year to date, it's down 1.3%. That's the thing, right? Everyone's like, oh, China, 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 everything's coming down. Look at JD.com. Go ask yourself how JD is holding up so well, but BAB is not. Um, I think they're both great companies, but I honestly think if you're buying some Chinese exposure, you can't talk about Babo without talking about JD. I don't have time to break it down, but if you guys get some time, look at their infrastructure, because I mean the proponents of their business are the largest in the world. Whether we're talking about gaming, I mean the e-commerce side, the technical, their technical engineers are insane. I mean you really got to listen to how that company structured itself. If I was buying Chinese stocks, I'd try and pick up Baba, JD. I just wait for Baba to stop falling. Honestly, if you think it's that big of a steal, go ahead. But this is one of those things where it pays to sit on your hands. And I'm still sitting on my hands. I mean, I haven't gone all in the market. I think I invested about 7 or 8,000 today alone, and not in companies that were worth necessarily investing that much in, except for Facebook, of course. But I got wrecked so hard on catching the falling knives. Yeah, I mean, it's part of the game, right? So, I mean, I was kind of catching some dividend drops today, not big enough drops. I'll give you a hint. Maybe some of you can figure it out. The stocks that I've been buying, the dividend stocks, have been increasing their dividends over 10%. There's more than one of them. And I own a lot of them. So I'm like, this takes the dividend to a whole new level. I'll buy a little bit of that today. Tencent is so underrated when it comes to China. Yeah, Tencent, JD. Some of those, what's Tencent at? That's another good question. I always find it funny because like nobody's talking about the Chinese stocks that aren't doing bad. It's like we kind of encapsulate all the worst performers and then just pop it into one. Tencent's down about 18% year to date. Yeah, it's not doing nearly as bad either, right? From the highs, it's down what, maybe 38%, but its highs were like this real quick peak. Tomorrow, I will be buying XQQ, the QQQ for the Canadians, Visa, and Mike's or Manulife. Oh, you a big fan of Manulife? Hey, Manulife Financial has been dropping too recently. Maybe let me take a look at Manulife. I don't like the insurance plays because I don't understand them very well. Insurance goes way over my head, way, way, way over my head. Yeah, Manulife's paying out a 4% yield. It's down from its all-time highs of about 20%. I mean, is this a correction or what? I mean, we've all been sitting here waiting, and it's just like, man, oh man, out of nowhere, these things are just tanking. I mean, for good reason. Tapering. If you guys don't know what the tapering is, on December, we're going to find out whether Jerome Powell is going to pull back on basically buying the government bonds. And that's just them kind of stopping flooding money into the system. If they do that earlier, things are obviously going to taper, as it's called. But then on top of that, we got variance, we got interest rates, we've got a lot of things out of control, right? So, I mean, this is where things get fun. This is where I have an entertaining time because I don't care how far my portfolio drops because I trust what I own. Biden spoke and the market tanked. Yeah, man. Biden controls the market. Well, not Biden. I don't think Biden actually has any control in the market anymore at all. I mean, it's the Jerome Powell. Nobody cares what Biden says. Forget Joe Biden. This is the guy that basically can't do anything right since he's been in office, right? I mean, what was he saying? Oh, we're gonna, fuel the carbon-free future, and then they split off like a huge amount of land that's not used in the ocean to sell to the big oil conglomerates. That's going to dump in the next decade like 30% of the oil supply on the market. Like, okay, that makes a whole lot of sense, I guess. Forget it. There's a lot of money there. Yeah, if you want money and oil, okay, that made a lot of sense. I mean, everything the guy says is just getting, two-wayed back to him. So I feel bad for him. It really shows you how much little control government truly has. I honestly think the Federal Reserve has more control than the vast majority of government. I mean, they're separated. They pull and control the switches of the money supply. I mean, Jerome Powell's basically the god of money. Let's be real. Literally, no one cares about Biden when it comes to the stock market, obviously, unless we head back into shutdowns. I mean, that's going to play a different story here, which again doesn't make sense if we're getting all worried about inflation, interest rates going up, this new variant that's coming to the market. Why are all the pandemic plays dropping again? I mean, Clorox dropped today. Facebook's dropping today. I think Zoom was down today. Let me just take a quick look because Zoom has been one that I like watching because it's like my precursor to the pandemic. Yeah, I mean, it's down 6.48% today. See, that doesn't make any sense to me. It's just like the only place money is going is into Apple by the looks of it. So it doesn't make any sense. Literally no one cares. Yeah, I know, right? Baba, Visa. I'm not a fan of Visa. I'm not a fan of Visa. I'm not a fan of PayPal. I just don't like them that much. Why is Apple the only one shining in the past week? Because Apple is the place of safe haven. It's a place of security, reliability. It is the safest company in the planet. It has the highest dividend score. blah, blah, blah. Basically what I imagine is going on right now is tax loss harvesting. People just selling into the sell off, presuming that they want to park their capital somewhere safe. And there's just not a lot of places to park it. I mean, actually, this is a good segue to what gold is doing, because I'm surprised crypto's holding up this well. I always figure when the markets tank, people would sell off crypto to either buy something else or control margin, perhaps. But let's just take a look at the gold, because gold actually tanked last time I looked. Not bad, but I usually use the gold bullion vault. Because these markets don't make any sense. Anything that you think you know about the market, or you listen to any analysts, I mean, yeah, gold's down to 1780. I mean, it plummeted from 18, almost 1870, and it's still not recovering. So it's just kind of like, you know, what about Ryokan? Yeah, so Ryokan, I talked about this today with some guys in the group. Maybe I'll finish up with this. So look, I don't care about the companies that are tanking like Ryokan, because if you understand the Canadian real estate market, I mean, I look at a few things. These are like common sense investing. Like the common sense investments are going to be the things like utilities. Like those things are going to cash flow. I mean, look at telecom. I really like TELUS. The reason TELUS makes sense, it doesn't come down at all. It's got a huge exposure to telehealth. And the more we head into a pandemic like this, I mean, they're just going to do great. You got telecom, everyone's going to be on their phones, their wireless internet. They're going to be using telehealth. They have private security. Security risks go up. People want more security, so they're buying more of that. I mean, TELUS is perfectly well rounded, so I'm not surprised the stock isn't tanking, right? Look at Ryokan. It's another one of my basketed stocks that's just common sense investing, because Ryokan is in one of the top 10 hottest real estate markets on the planet. They have liquidity out the yin yang. They cut their dividend. They are pocketing like an extra, what, 400 million or something a year just in the dividend cut. They've retained back to 98 or 99% rental collection. I mean, they've sold out most of their future units going out to 2025. When you go look through Ryokan, like that just comes down to being in one of the hottest real estate markets. I just don't feel like it doesn't matter. The pandemic could get so bad, so much worse. We could go back into a lockdown, and I guarantee you they could flip any of the real estate they own for double what it was worth last year. Guarantee it. I mean, we got people looking at my parents' house here, and I mean, my parents' number is absurd. Like the value of this property is nuts. What we're getting offered is insane. And again, over a year ago, it's double. I mean, this has become a multi-million-dollar property in less than a year. So Ryokan, again, stupid investing, stupid easy investing. They don't dilute shareholders, tons of capital. They've gotten through the hard part. I think they're great. Nvidia, your thoughts at this level? So Nvidia is like Tesla to me. It's crazy overvalued. You're going to pay a premium for it. I keep kind of looking at it as on my buy list, but I'd love to see it tank. I mean, I'd love to see Nvidia fall off a cliff, because it's another one of these virtual reality plays. And again, I don't think I can state it enough, the value of what this is about to unlock. If you've never tried one of these, please go find someone that does. If you own Facebook stock, I don't think you can truly appreciate what they're doing here. I know I talked about it a lot. Some of you may get bored of it, but you have to try it. You will not understand the scope of the metaverse or NFTs or how all this is going to integrate together until you understand exactly what virtual reality is doing, right? So when we talk about Nvidia stock here, folks, I would any day of the week right now take Facebook over Nvidia. Just because, I mean, Facebook's like cheap as dirt, in my opinion, right now. But Nvidia stock, I mean, it's pulled back what? It's pulled back like a whopping 5% from its all-time highs here, about 5-6% at most. I don't like it here because it's trading just at multiples that I don't appreciate yet. If I see like a good 15 or 20% correction in Nvidia, I'll be more intrigued about it. But obviously, guys, because we're living in a time period when crypto mining is completely taken over the chip market. And I talked about this before. Maybe I'll mention it again because it's too funny to me. So if you're somebody in a position to buy graphics cards as a supplier, like my buddy that owns a computer store is, and you're the person that is supposed to build the computers to sell to the random retail audience, yet you've come to the conclusion that, hey, if I can buy these graphics cards at cost for like, two, maybe 3,000 at most, because sometimes these suppliers, they make you buy package deals. They don't want you just buying the graphics cards to stop people from doing this. But hey, if you have 2 cents in your brain and you're like, I can get these things at a discount at cost, and I can build a crypto mine that is going to cash flow and pay me back in 8 to 12 months, guys, it's a no-brainer. I mean, crypto mining right now is one of the most lucrative businesses you can be in. I don't think people understand why you can't get graphics cards, why graphics cards are selling on eBay for $4,000, because there is no business model on the planet where you get a full rate of return. You pay off your entire business in less than a year. There, name one business in the stock market that's achieved something like that. It doesn't exist. I mean, when I looked at the numbers my buddy's pulling in right now, I don't want to throw him out because I mean, I hang out with them, we talk about his miners all the time. He's got like 20 or 30 graphics cards running right now. And this is a guy that's supposed to be selling these to random people, right? Like he's a supplier. But anyways, I mean, he's making $80 a day. He's completely supplemented his income cash flowing Bitcoin. And I'm trying to get him to stop selling it all. I'm just like, yo, man, like he loves the cash flow of it, but I'm like, man, just try and keep the coins. Just pay it off with your other businesses, but I mean, it's crazy. Uh, if the ARM, so anyways, yeah, just to finish up with the Nvidia thing here, because you're saying if the ARM deal goes through, Nvidia is set for the next decade. Nvidia is already set for the next decade. They don't have to go that much farther. It's also metaverse play like Facebook. Yeah, see, this is the problem, right? We look at all these great things that are impacted into Nvidia. We're talking metaverse. We're talking crypto mining, which again I think is going to change as we head into the future, maybe because a lot of things like Ethereum are moving to proof of stake, where they're like making you leverage Ethereum rather than having to use these crazy mining equipment things. But Nvidia, the problem with it is people have kind of priced all of that in. It's like Tesla, like it's priced in the next 10 years. I mean, if you're buying Nvidia, it's a 2030 play, just like Tesla's a 2030 play. If the stock goes any up from here, you might as well sell it. There's just no point holding it because I mean, that's my problem with Tesla, right? Like I kind of debating on whether I should sell a little bit of it moving into the new year. I'm not going to sell all of it, obviously, but it's way too overvalued. I mean, we're going to be sitting on our hands for a while before valuation starts making sense. Whereas Facebook has all of that upside, none of it priced into the stock. Not one dime of it is priced into the stock. And if you appreciate the metaverse as much as you think Nvidia is great, try this out. Come back to this video, comment on it, and tell me what your thoughts are. Because I'm telling you, this is going to blow your mind. I just can't get over a gaming PC, an Xbox, a PlayStation, all this equipment you need when this thing is just a wireless headset and a controller. And it's phenomenal. It's staggering. I mean, it's staggering. How much can Facebook drop from here? I think the fair value for Facebook, the true fair value for Facebook is somewhere around, I'm going to say somewhere between 260 and 280. When it comes to my fair value expectations in a stock, I tend to always price it about 10 to 20% higher than that because unfortunately hype is always built into tech stocks. You're always paying these hefty premiums, right? I mean, that's the thing with Tesla. Tesla was at a great value when it was trading in the $600 to $700 range, and people thought that was nuts. But you have to understand that hype, branding, all of that kind of plays into the value. So you kind of have to rework your discount models. And with Facebook, the best part about it is people hate it. People hate Zuckerberg. They don't like Facebook. It gets so much criticism all the time. I feel like it hasn't valued any of that in, right? So I think Facebook anywhere around the $300 range is a steal. If we get down into the 200 range, I'm backing the truck up. I'll buy it all the way down into the 200s because it just doesn't deserve to be down here. I am really intrigued to see and again, Facebook, no, think of it this way, guys. When Oculus launched, Facebook or Mark Zuckerberg didn't even mention Oculus as a product. They just talked about the metaverse. They tried to get people hyped about it. And then I remember going into our chat groups not even a month ago, and we had no idea what it looked like. I'm like, how does this make sense? I mean, we can speculate that maybe it'll be used for real estate. Maybe it'll be used for like concerts and things like that. And we had no idea. Nobody a month ago knew what the metaverse was about. Now you can hold it in your hands a month later, and the way I think about it is completely changed, thus making me want to put all my money in Facebook stock. So on that note, folks, I'm just going to leave it at there for now. And again, I'm just clobbered. I know I'm doing a lot of sponsor videos. Some of you guys don't appreciate the sponsor content. Honestly, if the sponsor content's not for you, you don't got to watch it. I'm going to be making more videos coming into the next week. I just appreciate it because it's helping me make a bit of extra money going into the holiday season. And I love helping companies out and get their videos on YouTube and get some SEO ranking and give them some exposure. And a lot of these companies are really intriguing. In fact, one of the good guys that I work with from a logistics company and a warehousing company did a live stream with me tonight. So I might be uploading that tomorrow morning. A lot of fun stuff, smaller cap companies, maybe not for everybody, but I do love helping them out. And I definitely appreciate it. Get your money up, bro. Do your thing. Yeah, I appreciate that. I appreciate people that like yourself, Capital Growth, because I don't know why more people aren't getting into this game. I mean, if you guys can get into social marketing, whether you're using TikTok, whether you're using Instagram or whatever, I just don't think people appreciate how much value you can offer to others. And again, just because some of this stuff isn't for you guys, and like I said, things are going to slow down, I'll probably go back to just making regular videos. But I should discuss a little bit more about maybe the dynamics and the money behind this. Thanks for your insight. Really helpful. I was not sure between Meta and Nvidia. Again, metaverse Nvidia is night and day. I mean, you run the valuation metrics, and Facebook is still a buy here, even though it's slightly overvalued. It's still a buy, in my opinion, and it could drop, and I hope it does. Keep adding there. Is still trading all of the Canadian CDRs. I haven't bought the CDRs. They're very interesting. Video for another day. How about this, guys? If I feel motivated, I don't think people appreciate the workload that I'm under right now because my body is starting to kill me. Um, I mean, I don't know what is going on with me, but I've been working way too much, way too much. What you guys see on this YouTube channel is barely the scratch of what my schedule looks like on a weekly basis right now, and it's I'm curious. I told one of my bosses, I'm like, just keep pushing me until I start cracking. Then we'll know my limits and we can taper from there. But for right now, I'm trying to pull a meet Kevin, and I just want to keep going and going and going. But I'm starting to feel it. My body is feeling it. In fact, I didn't even want to do, I don't want to do these streams, but I find they're easier to make than making the video and editing it and scripting it and whatever. So anyways, maybe what we'll do, how about this? I'll come back every single night. Every other night, maybe we'll sit down, do a live stream of some of these discussions because the markets are in very entertaining times. You'll notice that I've got a standing desk because I'm trying not to sit as much anymore. I'm going out for walks, trying to stand during my work time just to keep myself active. So let's do these live streams more often, folks. But stay cool, stay awesome, and I look forward to catching you in the next one. Peace.